How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is not Frank Trode. Frank Trode couldn't play his PPL game this week because it's one of his super busy lawyer weeks at school, and he's a super busy lawyer who can't play Pokemon. Boo-hoo. So, I'm Chris. I'm playing this. If you don't know me, that's probably for the best. If you do know me, I'm sorry you know me. Anyways, we are playing RTK in the Portland Timburrs this week. This game was pretty interesting. It took way too long to play, and RTK's got some scary stuff. Like, we don't really have an answer for Rotom Heat with our draft. We've got a couple of things that slow it down, but nothing actually really stops it or punishes it without sacrificing some valuable moves. Mega Medicham is scary because despite the fact that we have two things that outspeed it, an Entei that speed ties it if we don't run E-Speed, we don't really have anything that can just straight up OHKO it and take it out. And considering it gets Drain Punch and has a ridiculously high attack stat, that basically means that it's a huge threat. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the game. Things go pretty bad from the very beginning of this game because I lead out with Hippo, and Hippo was designed for the purpose of taking out Donphan and getting up rocks, and he doesn't bring Donphan, and we screwed up the set and didn't put rocks on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and eat the fake out, let him get Rocky Helmet and sand damage because whatever. And then I'm just going to stay in because I don't want anything else on our team taking sand damage. I'm fine with him taking more Rocky Helmet damage, assuming he doesn't have Grass Knot, and I can do what I'm about to do and get a toxic off on him, which is going to add up and give us more perpetual damage throughout the match. This was actually a stupidly risky play. It's more risky than the play I'm about to make, which a lot of people are saying was a ballsy play, but he could have had Grass Knot and just straight up taken us out. There was very little reason for him to not run Grass Knot, considering that Starmie's classified as one of the heavier weight things, and it also takes him out, and he could have just run like a dual stab Grass Knot, and it would have handled a lot of things on our team. But the fact that he goes for high jump kick shows me he doesn't have Drain Punch, and he also doesn't have Grass Knot, so I just stay in and go for the Toxic. Here, like I said, we don't have rocks. We didn't put rocks on it, so Hippo's useless to me. I don't care for it. It's pretty much just dead weight. So I stay in and slack off, hoping that he'll just stay in, take sand and another turn of toxic damage, and kill me. And he doesn't. He switches out, which actually means Hippo's useful for later on. Now, I make the super obvious move. I go into Poliwrath, because Poliwrath's job is to shut down Milotic and also just kind of mess with the Bisharp in the back later on. And RTK makes the basic, the good prediction, the standard prediction. He goes for what I'm pretty sure was HP Electric and takes down Poliwrath. That's okay. That doesn't mean that we're screwed here. We still have options. This crit was actually huge. Not huge in the sense that it determined the outcome of the game, but it's incredibly relevant for the next few plays because we actually have Endeavor on this Poliwrath. And if I had not gotten crit, then I could have lived the following hidden power and gotten off a really low HP Endeavor on this Milotic after it had been toxic, and it pretty much would have instantly died. But because of the crit, I'm too low, so I have to switch into Golbat. He hits me with the hidden power, which again, now I know for sure is electric. And yeah, so I don't have much else to do. I don't think he's going to stay in, fearing like Super Fang and things like that. So, whatever. Just going to make, you know, basic safe play, go for a taunt in case he wants to try and recover things up, or in case he goes into anything that's going to like remove toxic, like Heal Bell Gardevoir or something like that. I can't stay in on Rotom. Rotom's a problem, like I said at the very beginning. So the answer to Rotom for pretty much the whole of the match is going to be go into Hippo. Hippo can't actually touch it. We don't actually have a move to touch it. But it stops Volt Switch, it doesn't really care about Overheat, it doesn't really care about Will-O-Wisp because of the moveset we have, so it's whatever. Hippo, I'm just going to stay in because I don't care. Like I said, I was willing to sack this thing off turn 3 of the game, so whatever, I'm just going to stay in and try and toxic things. A big goal for the plan this week was to just get everything to mid-health, because at mid-health, Starmie and Cobalion can pretty much take anything that isn't scarfed out. So he goes and switches into Milotic, eats the Toxic, which is good, that's fine. I can go into Golbat here and take a Scald, I don't really care, I'll be able to roost up. He gets the burn, which is unfortunate because we did have an offensive move on here, just to help things out later. But for the most part, I think there's only one Mon the entire game I use more than 2 moves on. Anything with Recover, I pretty much just use Recover and Toxic, and the rest of the stuff, I didn't really need too much coverage based off what he brings. Again, I'm not afraid of anything Milotic can do. It can't knock off. If he wants to phase me, that's fine. If he wants to Ice Beam, I can eat that too. So I stay in and Roost. I stay in here because Toxic on this is way more valuable, and I don't really have anything else to do. He over predicts and goes for the Overheat, which I eat up. And this also shows me a big thing. The Rotom is not like a Scarfed offensive Rotom, it's a more bulky Rotom, which means Golbat actually outspeeds. Not speed creeping Golbat really hurt him here because, like you're about to see, now I can just Roost, and now I have actually 2 things to handle the Rotom, despite the fact that initially it was a huge problem for the team. We didn't have anything for it. But as soon as he failed to speed creep it, I have 2 things for it. He's just going to Volt Switch out in the Medicham, which is like, oh, okay, that's a little scary, I understand that. But Sand's not up, I have the Rocky Helmet, he doesn't have the Grass Knot, so Hippo's a pretty safe, easy play. He can go ahead and go for whatever he wants to go for here, I don't care. He actually goes for the Thunder Punch, playing it pretty safe, and I get an immunity, which is nice, but again, I was totally fine eating a high jump kick at that point, and just getting off the extra Rocky Helmet damage like I do here. It probably ended up being for the best that I didn't need it there, because he might have lived without toxic damage, or he might not have. I think he would have died anyways. So either way, it just ended up being an extra turn of the game, which is not that huge a deal. I can go back into Golbat, because at this point, he doesn't really have much for Golbat. Since it outspeeds, it shuts down this Rotom, it's not a problem. His Milotic can't really touch it. He doesn't necessarily... I mean, I guess he could have come in with Bisharp or knock off Scyther and done something, but he continually doesn't. He finally brings in this, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I don't have anything to do with this. Like, I don't have anything I want to switch in and take a bunch of needless damage. So I'll just sack Golbat. It's fine. It's done its job. It's spread a lot of Toxic and Poison around. If he goes for the Psyshock, then I'll get some inkling of what kind of set he has. I actually went for a Taunt there, just in case he was a slower, bulky Gardevoir, so that I could stop a Heal Bell or a Wish Pass or something like that. He obviously outspec Golbat, and he just goes ahead and goes for the kill, which was good because Golbat was causing him problems, but, you know, if he had other options, it may have been a thing. But now I can just go into Entei and click Sacred Fire. We're adamant banned because his team's relatively slow. And yeah, I'm just going to click Sacred Fires. Even at this point, Milotic isn't really going to be super favorable to switch into them because it's taken prior damage, it's Toxic, and we still have 1 turn of Sand up. So I was fine hitting that, and worst comes to worst, I could have just sacked Poliwrath. Had he brought Milotic in, it wasn't really an issue for me. So yeah, I just straight up go for Sacred Fires. And then I go for another Sacred Fire here, because screw it. Might as well rack it. Like, at this point, I just want to do damage to this Rotom, because not having Rocks up has really hurt our position to atrophy it. And now that I've let Golbat die and Hippo's down, this is a problem. I just have to stay in and hit the things. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay in and hit the things. He has the T-Wave, which is useful, but I'm not sure if it's the best thing he could have done there. It does hurt us in the long run, but considering that we're banded with E-Speed, Paralysis isn't the worst situation we could be in. Especially because Entei's got enough reasonable bulk to live most of the things. He doesn't have anything besides Milotic to hit us super effective. And again, we have answers for Milotic, so not a huge deal, but we do eat the T-Wave, and that was a good play on his part for the reason of he lives the Toxic, and then he, next turn, gets to reveal the Pain Split on the slower turn. But I don't really give a crap about that. I'm just going to stay in and click Sacred Fire again, and then he's going to just, you know, stay in and hit the Pain Split. And that's that's unfortunate. It's going to keep this thing around. However, I'm fine with that trade-off. Again, as long as my Lodic's around, Entei isn't super useful. It's good enough, but it's not as useful as it could have been depending on the various other members of the team he could have brought. So I'm fine with just staying in and going for damage on this thing to rack up toxic turn timer damage. He's finally just going to Volt Switch out, and he's going to go into my Lodic, and again, like I said, I'm just staying in and clicking Sacred Fire. I don't care. He takes it perfectly fine. Again, I'm not worried about it. That's not Entei's job to take out my Lodic. We're not running anything super scary for that. It's just standard stuff. Here, just going to go ahead and sack off Poliwrath. If I get lucky and he plays it safe and he goes for Scald, then I'm back in the game, and that's cool. If not, it dies. Whatever, not a big deal. Here I can bring in Starmie. I can threaten him out with the idea of Thunderbolt. You're going to find out very quickly I don't have Thunderbolt, but what I do have is Substitute. The point of Substitute obviously is to deal with Sucker Punch Bisharp later in the game, but it's actually just going to do a good job here. I'm fine letting him continually break the sub, because the thing is, he has to stay in. He either has to stay in and keep breaking the sub and racking up toxic damage, or he has to switch out and let me have a free sub up. That's a totally beneficial trade for me. I have no problem staying in a couple of rounds, letting him get that toxic timer damage up super high. He's going to die if he stays in. He can't risk not going for it, so now I'm just going to go ahead and switch back out into Cobalion, who can take it easy. I know he's not going to go for a Scald because he can't break the sub. I'm going to eat the Hidden Power, and it's going to be fine. Now he's in trouble, because I know the Rotom's not fast enough to outspeed me, and it's pretty low on health. The Gardevoir still could potentially be like Scarf with Focus Blast or something like that to take me out, but he brings in the Rotom here, so I know it's not. I know it's pretty much safe to just click Close Combat. Nothing he can do about it. Next play is a little bit of a ballsy play. It's probably a play I shouldn't have made in hindsight. But I needed to make sure that I still have Entei later on as a pivot, so I risk the idea that he's not Scarfed and just go ahead and straight up go for an Iron Head, and I get it and I kill him. Had he been Scarfed and taken me out, I would have lost. I wouldn't have had enough things to deal with a combination of potential moves that Bisharp and Scyther have, but since he's not and this thing dies, it's pretty much GG at this point. I'm going to go ahead and play it safe here, just in case he has like Scarf low kick Bisharp. I was really scared of Scarfers because I have two things that are fast and kill his entire team, but they weren't powerful enough to take down Medicham without taking prior damage. So I thought a couple of Scarf things would be pretty good for him to have. I get pretty lucky, and he doesn't have Scarf Bisharp. You'll find that here when he goes for Sucker Punch. There's no reason for any human being to ever run Scarf Sucker Punch besides some weird gimmicky set. So I get a free switch into this. I do have the Banded E-Speed, so I don't care about the Sucker Punch. I'm just going to go ahead and click E-Speed and kill it. Now he's shown me that he's not choiced in any way. He's actually Life Orb, which is awesome. Being banded would have probably been easier on me, but now, you know, I 100% know I'm not scared of this thing. He can't kill me with anything off the bat here. The most he can do is reveal a low kick here, but I don't care about that. I don't care about taking me prior damage, so I'm just going to go for a sub to play it safe. He goes for the Sucker Punch to just try and get, I guess, potential damage off or speed up the end of the match. I'm not really sure which. But yeah, so I sub, close combat, kill it. He still has Scyther. Scyther could also still potentially be Scarfed with like low kick or brick break or maybe even superpower. I'm not sure exactly what it gets, but it's got options, and I do have defense drop. He's not Scarfed, but I can't kill it because I don't have Rock Move. Fun fact for this battle, Cobalion's the only Mon I used 3 moves on. I used Substitute, Close Combat, and Iron Head. It's the only one. Every other Mon used 2 or less moves the entire game. So yeah, I just have to go for the Iron Head. I do get the flinch, which is fairly useless because I'm going to kill it next turn anyways, but it lets me kill it with a sub up, which gets you style points. That's a little known fact about League. If you win with a sub up, you get like 30 style points. Nobody talks about it. It's crazy. But anyways, I won. We won. Go FC Volcarona. We have officially doubled our win count for the entire season. So we're pretty much unstoppable momentum juggernauts at this point, as long as Frank doesn't blow it and lose his game this weekend. Bye.
So that was the battle. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I couldn't battle myself, but I was very busy with homework, temporary job I got this week, and you know, shit of real life shit. Anyways, hopefully you've enjoyed Chris's battle and his commentary. It's pretty funny, and he's my man. I can always rely on him, and say thanks to him. And next week we're battling Necro Stevo, so we have to be ready for that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. And anything you wanna ask on the comment section about this battle, just ask me, that I will talk to Chris, and you know, we will explain everything that happened, or anything you wanna guys know. Thank you for watching, and see you guys next time on this channel. Bye bye.